What if Vader's suit had modern technology? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Vader moves like a phantom through the rebel base. No labored breathing. No mechanical stomping. No warning. The rebels don't hear him coming until it's too late. His enhanced suit makes him virtually silent as he glides through corridors that should be impossible to navigate undetected. When blaster fire erupts around him, something impossible happens. He doesn't just deflect the shots, he redirects them with surgical precision while simultaneously analyzing the rebels' tactical positions through walls. This isn't the Vader you know. How is he doing that? One rebel whispers into his comlink, watching security footage of Vader disabling guards without killing them. He's different. Within minutes, Vader has the rebel leaders surrounded. But instead of the rage-fueled intimidation they expected, he speaks with terrifying calm. "You have information I require. We can discuss this rationally, or I can extract it through precisely calculated pressure points. Your choice, but how did we get here? How did the Empire's most feared enforcer become something far more dangerous than anyone imagined?" The answer lies in a single decision made 20 years ago, in a medical bay, when Emperor Palpatine chose arrogance over control. Standing over Anakin Skywalker's burnt and broken body on Mustafar, Palpatine had two choices. He could build the deliberately weakened, pain-riddled suit that would keep his apprentice dependent and suffering. Or he could create something unprecedented, a fusion of man and machine using the Empire's most advanced technology. "Director Krennic," Palpatine commanded, his yellow eyes gleaming with ambition. "Use everything. Nanotechnology, neural interfaces, quantum-enhanced life support. I want the ultimate weapon." What Palpatine didn't realize was that he was about to create his own destroyer. Palpatine stares down at his broken apprentice, his yellow eyes gleaming with calculation rather than sympathy. In the original timeline, this would have been the moment he chose to create a deliberately weakened version of Vader powerful enough to serve, but crippled enough to never threaten his rule. The life support system would have been crude, painful, designed to keep Anakin dependent and in constant agony to fuel his rage. But as he watches the young man's chest rise and fall in labored breaths, Palpatine makes a different decision. Perhaps it's arrogance, perhaps it's ambition, or perhaps it's the desire to create something truly magnificent that drives him. He activates his comlink with a sharp gesture. "Director Krennic, report to Medical Bay 7 immediately. Bring your entire advanced technology division." Within minutes, Orson Krennic arrives with a team of the Empire's most brilliant scientists and engineers. His uniform is crisp, his expression eager as he takes in the scene before him. Behind him, specialists in cybernetics, nanotechnology, and bioengineering spread out around the medical bay, their portable equipment creating a small technological army. "My lord," Krennic says with a respectful bow. "What do you require?" Palpatine gestures toward Anakin's broken form. "I want him rebuilt, not just functional superior. Use every resource at the Empire's disposal. I want nanotechnology, neural interfaces, quantum-enhanced life support systems. Spare absolutely no expense." Krennic's eyes light up with scientific fervor. "My lord, we have been developing experimental technologies that could not only restore function, but enhance it far beyond biological limitations. Self-repairing nanosystems that could heal damage in real time. Prosthetics with strength exceeding any organic limb. cognitive enhancement systems that could optimize brain function beyond normal human capacity. But the cost would be. Cost is irrelevant. Palpatine interrupts with a wave of his hand. I want my apprentice to be the ultimate fusion of man and machine, more powerful than he ever was as a Jedi, more capable than any warrior in galactic history. Show me what the Empire's technology can truly accomplish. Dr. Silo, Krennic's chief cybernetics specialist, steps forward with barely contained excitement. My lord, with your permission, I would like to propose a complete systematic enhancement rather than mere replacement. We could integrate nanoscale medical robots into his bloodstream for continuous healing and optimization. Neural mesh implants could provide direct interface with computer systems and enhanced cognitive processing. The prosthetics could be crafted from nearly indestructible materials with strength output that would make him capable of crushing durasteel with his bare hands. The respiratory system is the key challenge, adds Dr. Vader, the Empire's leading expert in life support technology. Standard ventilators would leave him dependent and limited. But if we could create a closed-loop system with atmospheric processors and enhanced oxygen delivery, he could function in any environment: vacuum, toxic atmosphere, underwater. The breathing apparatus could be nearly silent and provide enhanced endurance beyond any biological system. Palpatine nods approvingly. Begin immediately. I want constant updates on his progress. And remember, this project is classified at the highest levels. What we create here must remain secret until the time is right to reveal it to the galaxy. What Palpatine doesn't realize, in his arrogance and hunger for power, is that he's about to create something far more dangerous than he ever intended. By giving Vader the tools to think clearly, to function without pain, and to operate at peak efficiency, he's removing the very chains that would have kept his apprentice bound to him. The reconstruction takes place over 4 months in the deepest, most secure medical facility in the Imperial Palace. Layer by layer, system by system, Anakin Skywalker is rebuilt from the ground up. His damaged organs are replaced with synthetic alternatives that function better than their biological predecessors. His lost limbs are replaced with prosthetics so advanced they're practically works of art. Sleek, powerful, and nearly indistinguishable from organic limbs in their movement and responsiveness. But it's the less visible enhancements that truly transform him. Billions of nanobots flow through his circulatory system, constantly monitoring his health, repairing damage, and optimizing his biological functions. Neural mesh implants integrate seamlessly with his brain tissue, providing enhanced memory, processing power, and reaction time. His new respiratory system doesn't just keep him alive, it enhances his physical capabilities, providing his muscles with more oxygen than any biological lung system ever could. The armor itself is a masterpiece of Imperial engineering. Rather than the crude, heavy suit of the original timeline, this is a sleek, form-fitting system that enhances rather than encumbers. The life support systems are integrated so seamlessly that they're nearly invisible. Environmental controls maintain perfect temperature and pressure. The helmet's display systems provide enhanced vision across multiple spectrums, tactical analysis, and direct neural interface with external systems. When Vader finally awakens, it's not with the labored breathing and clumsy movement that would have defined his original reconstruction. Instead, he sits up smoothly, his movements fluid and precise. For the first time since Mustafar, he feels no pain, The constant agony that would have driven him deeper into the dark side is absent, replaced by a sense of perfect physical harmony. "How do you feel, my friend?" Palpatine asks. Watching his apprentice with satisfaction, he's expecting gratitude, perhaps even worship, for the gift he's given. Vader flexes his new mechanical hand, watching as microscopic repair systems instantly address the tiny wear caused by the movement. His enhanced visual systems provide him with a detailed analysis of the room's structural weak points, electronic signatures, even Palpatine's elevated heart rate, suggesting nervousness despite his calm exterior. "I feel." Vader pauses, his enhanced cognitive systems processing the sensation. Complete. More than complete. For the first time since Mustafar, I can think without the fog of pain clouding my judgment. There's something in his tone that gives Palpatine a moment's pause. The subservience is still there, but there's also a new confidence, an independence he hadn't expected. In the original timeline, Vader's constant pain would have made him dependent on his master's presence as the only source of purpose beyond his suffering. But this Vader doesn't need an escape from pain. He's already found perfection. The nanotechnology systems are functioning optimally, Dr. Silo reports, monitoring readings from Vader's internal systems. Healing rate is accelerated by a factor of 50. Strength output in the prosthetics is registering at 12 times baseline human maximum. Cognitive enhancement is showing remarkable results. Memory recall is perfect, processing speed is enhanced, and analytical capabilities are far beyond normal human parameters. Vader stands, and his movement is nothing like the labored, mechanical gait that would have characterized his original suit. Instead, he moves with the fluid grace of a dancer, combined with the controlled power of a predator. Every step is calculated, efficient, perfect. "The suit provides capabilities I did not anticipate, Master," Vader says, his voice no longer mechanically distorted, but enhanced through the armor's systems to carry perfect clarity and resonance. "I can access and process information at speeds I never achieved even as a Jedi. My connection to the Force feels purified, enhanced." This last comment sends a chill through Palpatine. Enhanced Force abilities were not something he had considered. The dark side was supposed to be fueled by pain, anger, and suffering. But Vader's enhanced systems are allowing him to channel the Force with a clarity and precision that seems almost balanced. The first test of Vader's new abilities comes during a mission to crush a rebel cell on Ryloth. Intelligence suggests that a group of former Republic senators are coordinating with Twi'lek resistance fighters to establish a rebel network that could threaten Imperial supply lines in the Outer Rim. In the original timeline, Vader might have relied on brute force landing, with overwhelming numbers, terrorizing the population, and leaving destruction in his wake to serve as an example. But this Vader approaches the mission with a different mindset entirely. His enhanced analytical systems have processed every piece of intelligence on the rebel cell, cross-referenced it with Imperial databases, and developed a comprehensive understanding of their operational patterns, likely hideouts, and probable escape routes. More importantly, his clear thinking allows him to see the bigger picture. This rebel cell is just one piece of a larger network, and capturing them alive could provide intelligence worth far more than their deaths. The Imperial shuttle times Dominator times lands in Ryloth's capital city of Lesu under cover of darkness. But instead of the full stormtrooper assault that locals might expect, only a small team disembarks Vader, 2 shadow troopers, and an intelligence analyst. Vader's enhanced sensory systems have already mapped the city's layout, identified the most likely rebel strongholds, and detected the subtle electronic signatures that suggest hidden communications equipment. "My lord," the intelligence analyst whispers as they move through the narrow streets. "Our surveillance indicates the rebels are operating out of the old Senate building. It's heavily defended, with at least 30 fighters and multiple escape routes." Vader doesn't respond immediately. His enhanced systems are processing far more information than his companion can access. Heat signatures from the building suggest 47 individuals, not 30. Their movement patterns indicate a sophisticated command structure. Most interestingly, electromagnetic analysis reveals they're using advanced encryption technology far beyond what a simple rebel cell should have access to. "The intelligence is incomplete," Vader finally says, his voice carrying the absolute certainty of someone with access to perfect information. "There are 47 rebels, not 30. They possess advanced communications equipment suggesting significant off-world support. Most importantly, their defensive positions indicate they're expecting an attack." The analyst looks confused. "My lord, our surveillance has been comprehensive. How can you be certain?" "Because I can see them," Vader interrupts. His enhanced visual systems can detect heat signatures through walls. His auditory enhancements can pick up conversations from hundreds of meters away, and his electromagnetic sensors can map electronic devices throughout the building. More importantly, I can see their weakness. What follows is not the brutal assault that characterized Vader's original tactics, but something approaching artistry. Using his perfect sensory information, Vader infiltrates the building through ventilation systems. His enhanced strength allows him to navigate silently. His improved agility lets him move through spaces that would have been impossible for his original clumsy suit. One by one, he disables guards with precise, non-lethal strikes that his enhanced strength makes effortless. Within 30 minutes, he has neutralized the entire security force without raising an alarm. The rebel leaders, including former Senator Tar and the Twi'lek resistance leader Cham Syndulla, find themselves surrounded not by an army, but by a single figure whose presence seems to fill the room with controlled menace. "Gentlemen," Vader says, his enhanced voice carrying perfect calm, "you have information I require. We can discuss this rationally, or I can extract it through less pleasant means. The choice is yours." Cham Syndulla, a veteran of the Clone Wars, tries to reach for his weapon, but Vader's enhanced reflexes make the movement seem like slow motion. Before Syndulla's hand can complete its arc toward his blaster, Vader has crossed the room and gently but immovably grasped his wrist. "I would prefer cooperation," Vader continues, applying just enough pressure to make his point without causing permanent damage. "My enhanced capabilities allow me to be very precise in applying discomfort. I can target specific nerve clusters with mathematical accuracy. The pain would be quite intense, but leave no lasting damage. Or we can simply have a conversation. It's not the raging, destructive Vader that rebels have been trained to expect. This is something far more unsettling. A perfectly controlled, supremely capable opponent who seems to know everything and gives away nothing. The psychological impact is devastating. Under questioning, the rebels reveal far more than they intended. The network extends across 12 systems. They're receiving funding from the banking clan and weapons from former separatist holdouts. Most importantly, they're part of a larger organization, something they call the Rebel Alliance, that's being coordinated by former Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi and a group of senators led by Bail Organa. Fascinating. Vader muses as his enhanced memory systems instantly cross-reference this information with everything in the Imperial database. This suggests a level of organization far beyond what our intelligence indicated. Tell me, when did you last have contact with Kenobi? The name sends visible shock through the rebels. They hadn't mentioned Obi-Wan by name, but Vader's analytical systems had pieced together the clues from their other statements. His enhanced cognitive abilities are allowing him to see connections that would have taken teams of intelligence analysts weeks to uncover. Senator Tarr, sweating despite the cool air, finally speaks. We don't know anyone by that name." Vader's sensors detect the elevated heart rate, increased perspiration, and vocal stress patterns that indicate deception. His enhanced systems provide him with a perfect read on everyone in the room. "Senator, my suit's biometric systems can detect physiological changes associated with deception with 99.7% accuracy. Shall we try again?" The interrogation continues for several hours, but it's unlike any interrogation Vader has conducted before. Instead of relying on pain and terror, he uses perfect information and logical pressure. His enhanced systems allow him to detect every micro-expression, every physiological tell, every subtle indication of where the rebels are being truthful and where they're attempting deception. By the end, he has extracted a complete picture of rebel operations across multiple sectors. But more importantly, something has changed in Vader himself during this process. His enhanced cognitive systems have been analyzing not just the rebels, but his own actions and motivations. For the first time since his fall to the dark side, he's operating without the constant influence of pain and rage. And what he discovers troubles him. The rebels, for all their opposition to the Empire, are not evil. They're afraid. Afraid of the arbitrary executions, the destruction of entire worlds, the casual cruelty that has become standard Imperial policy. They're fighting not for power or wealth, but for the simple right to exist without terror. It's a realization that his enhanced analytical systems present to him with perfect clarity, uncolored by the rage that would have defined his original incarnation. "My lord," one of the shadow troopers asks, "shall we execute the prisoners?" Vader pauses, his enhanced systems processing the question from multiple angles. Standard Imperial policy would indeed call for execution, but his clear thinking reveals the logical flaws in that approach. Dead rebels provide no ongoing intelligence. Their executions would likely inspire more resistance. And strategically, turning them might provide far greater value than killing them. "No," Vader says finally, "we will transport them to Coruscant for further debriefing. Their intelligence value is too significant to waste." It's a decision the original Vader would never have made. Pain and anger would have demanded blood, but enhanced Vader operates on logic and efficiency. For the first time in years, he's chosen a path that doesn't involve unnecessary death. When he reports to Palpatine upon his return to Coruscant, the Emperor is pleased with the intelligence gathered but curious about the change in tactics. "You seem to have taken a different approach than usual, my friend," Palpatine observes as they walk through the throne room. In the past, you might have simply eliminated the rebels and made an example of the population. The enhanced capabilities you provided allow for more sophisticated approaches, Master. Vader replies. The intelligence gathered will allow us to dismantle rebel networks across multiple sectors. The strategic value far exceeds the temporary satisfaction of a public execution. Palpatine nods approvingly, but there's something in his expression that suggests unease. He had wanted a more powerful weapon, but he's beginning to realize that he's created something more dangerous, an apprentice capable of independent thought. Over the following weeks, Vader's new approach proves devastatingly effective. Using the intelligence from Ryloth, Imperial forces conduct precise strikes against rebel cells across the Outer Rim. But instead of the brutal, terrorizing campaigns that characterized the Empire's typical response, these operations are surgical in their precision. Key leaders are captured rather than killed. Rebel supporters are offered amnesty in exchange for information. Entire networks are dismantled with minimal civilian casualties. The results are remarkable. Rebel recruitment in targeted areas drops significantly as populations see that cooperation with the Empire doesn't necessarily result in massacre. Intelligence flowing to Imperial forces increases dramatically as rebels find that surrender means interrogation rather than execution. For the first time since the Empire's formation, counterinsurgency operations are actually reducing rather than increasing resistance. But these successes come with an unexpected side effect. Vader's enhanced analytical systems are constantly processing not just tactical information, but strategic and political analysis as well. And the more clearly he thinks, the more questions begin to emerge about the Empire's policies and about his master's true motivations. During a briefing on Coruscant, Grand Moff Tarkin expresses his concerns about Vader's new methods. Lord Vader, Tarkin says, his voice carrying its usual bureaucratic precision. While I applaud your tactical successes, I worry that showing mercy to rebels sends the wrong message. The doctrine of fear requires that opposition to the Empire result in swift and terrible retribution. Your more nuanced approach might be misinterpreted as weakness. Vader's enhanced systems immediately analyze Tarkin's statement, cross-referencing it with historical data about the effectiveness of fear-based governance. The results are illuminating and troubling. Grand Moff, Vader replies, my analysis suggests that the doctrine of fear, while effective in the short term, actually increases long-term resistance. Fear breeds resentment, which breeds rebels. Strategic mercy, combined with overwhelming demonstration of capability, achieves better long-term stability with lower resource expenditure. Tarkin looks genuinely surprised. This level of political analysis is not something he expected from Vader. Your analysis, Lord Vader. You speak as if you've conducted extensive research into governance theory. I have, Vader responds. My enhanced cognitive systems allow me to process vast amounts of historical data and political theory in real time. The mathematical models are quite clear. Terra, as a primary governance tool, has a predictable failure rate of 87% over periods longer than 20 years. The room falls silent. Imperial officers exchange glances. This is not the Vader they knew, the rage-driven enforcer who solved problems with violence and intimidation. This is someone who sounds almost scholarly, analytical, independent. Emperor Palpatine, who has been listening to this exchange with growing unease, finally speaks. Lord Vader, while your analytical capabilities are impressive, we must not lose sight of the Empire's fundamental principles. The dark side of the Force is powered by passion, by anger. I worry that your enhanced systems may be moderating your connection to the power that makes you strong. It's a warning disguised as concern, and Vader's enhanced systems immediately recognize it as such. For the first time since his reconstruction, he finds himself analyzing his master's words rather than simply accepting them. My connection to the Force has never been stronger, Master. Vader replies carefully. The enhanced clarity allows me to channel power with precision I never achieved before. But you raise an interesting point about the nature of the dark side. Perhaps our understanding of it has been incomplete. Palpatine's eyes narrow slightly. This is dangerous territory, an apprentice questioning fundamental Sith doctrine. The dark side is fueled by passion, by suffering, by the raw emotions that lesser beings try to suppress. This has been true for 1,000 generations. Yet, Vader responds, his enhanced memory systems providing him with perfect recall of ancient texts. The ancient Sith achieved their greatest power not through blind rage, but through controlled application of dark side energy. Darth Revan, Darth Traya, even Darth Bane. They succeeded, not despite their ability to think clearly, but because of it. The conversation ends there, but both master and apprentice understand that something fundamental has changed. Vader is no longer the broken, dependent weapon Palpatine had expected. He's becoming something far more dangerous and equal. As weeks turn to months, this evolution continues. Vader begins taking initiative beyond his direct orders, implementing systematic improvements to Imperial operations. His enhanced cognitive abilities allow him to identify inefficiencies in military organization, supply chains, and administrative systems. When Imperial commanders prove incompetent, he doesn't just punish them, he implements comprehensive reforms. The results are remarkable. The Imperial war machine becomes significantly more effective under Vader's influence. Logistics improve, communication systems are streamlined, and military effectiveness increases across all theaters of operation. But with these improvements comes increased independence from his master's direct control. The crisis begins during the construction of the Death Star. In the original timeline, Vader was merely Palpatine's enforcer during this project, following orders without question and dealing with problems through intimidation and violence. But this enhanced Vader approaches the project with the same analytical rigor he brings to everything else. The Death Star construction site at Geonosis bustles with activity as thousands of workers, droids, and supervisors coordinate the massive undertaking. Director Krennic, overseeing the project, has grown accustomed to Vader's periodic inspections, but he's not prepared for the level of detailed analysis his enhanced systems now provide. Director, Vader says as they walk through the main reactor chamber, I've completed my analysis of the station's design specifications. Excellent, Lord Vader, Krennic replies, his voice carrying its usual mix of pride and nervous deference. I trust you find our work impressive. The Death Star will be the ultimate expression of Imperial power. The engineering is indeed impressive. Vader acknowledges, his enhanced visual systems highlighting structural details invisible to normal perception. However, I've identified a critical vulnerability in the design. Krennic stops walking, his expression shifting to confusion and slight indignation. Vulnerability. Lord Vader, this design has been approved by the finest engineers in the Empire. I assure you, the Death Star is invulnerable to any assault. Vader's enhanced systems display a three-dimensional model of the station in his visual interface, highlighting the problematic area. The main reactor is accessed through a series of exhaust ports that lead directly to the central core. If a precise shot were fired into the primary exhaust port, the resulting chain reaction would destroy the entire station. Lord Vader, Krennic protests. The exhaust port is only 2 meters wide. The possibility of a successful attack through such a small opening is astronomically remote. Our analysis suggests it would require pinpoint accuracy impossible for any pilot. Unless, Vader continues, his enhanced memory systems, providing him with uncomfortable clarity about recent events. The pilot were guided by the Force. A Force-sensitive pilot could achieve the necessary precision. The implications hang in the air between them. Krennic's face grows pale as he realizes what Vader is suggesting, that the Death Star, despite its overwhelming power, could be destroyed by a single X-Wing fighter with the right pilot. What? What do you recommend? Krennic asks, his voice barely above a whisper. Vader's enhanced systems have already calculated multiple solutions. The exhaust port design must be modified. Instead of a direct path to the reactor core, install a series of ray-shielded chambers that would redirect any projectile away from critical systems. Additionally, the reactor itself should be segmented to prevent cascade failures. These modifications would add approximately 2 months to the construction timeline, but would eliminate the vulnerability entirely. It's logical, well-reasoned advice that would save the Empire trillions of credits and countless lives. But when Vader presents his findings to Emperor Palpatine, he receives an unexpected response. Lord Vader, Palpatine says, his voice carrying an edge of irritation, the Death Star's design has been finalized. The construction timeline cannot be altered. We proceed as planned. Vader's enhanced cognitive systems immediately flag this response as suspicious. Any rational leader would want to address a potentially catastrophic vulnerability. The Emperor's refusal to consider modifications suggests either incompetence or hidden agenda. Master, with respect, the vulnerability is real and easily addressed. The mathematical probability of successful attack through the current design, while low, is not zero. Strategic prudence would dictate. Strategic prudence? Palpatine interrupts, his voice rising slightly, is my concern, not yours. You are to ensure the Death Star's construction proceeds on schedule, not to redesign it based on hypothetical scenarios. For the first time since his reconstruction, Vader directly questions his master's judgment. Master, may I ask why you would choose to ignore a critical weakness that could result in the loss of our most important strategic asset? Palpatine's eyes narrowed dangerously. This is the question he cannot answer honestly, that the Death Star's vulnerability is intentional, designed to draw the rebels into a trap that will allow him to crush their alliance and convert Luke Skywalker to the dark side. But he cannot explain this without revealing the existence of Luke, which would lead to questions about Padmé's survival and children, questions that might unravel decades of carefully constructed lies. "Because I have foreseen it," Palpatine says finally, falling back on the mystique of Sith prophecy. "The Force has shown me the Death Star's destiny. It will serve its purpose." But Vader's enhanced analytical systems are no longer satisfied with vague references to destiny and the Force. His improved cognitive abilities demand logical explanations for strategic decisions. More troubling, his perfect memory is beginning to recover conversations and events from his early days as Vader that his pain-clouded mind had previously been unable to process clearly. Late that night, alone in his private chambers, Vader begins what will become a months-long investigation into his own past. His enhanced memory systems allow him to recall conversations with perfect clarity, cross-reference them with Imperial records, and identify inconsistencies he had never noticed before. The first troubling revelation comes when he accesses medical records from Padmé's death. His enhanced systems immediately identify discrepancies in the official reports. According to Imperial medical files, Padmé died of complications during childbirth on Polis Massa. But when Vader cross-references this with transport logs, communications records, and witness statements, a different picture emerges. Padmé was healthy when she arrived at Polis Massa. The medical droids reported no complications with the pregnancy. Most telling, there are gaps in the medical records, missing data that suggests someone with high-level access deleted critical information. His enhanced analytical systems calculate the probability that Padmé died of natural causes during childbirth at less than 12%. For the first time since Mustafar, Vader allows himself to consider the possibility that Palpatine lied to him about his wife's death. The implications are staggering. If Padmé didn't die from his Force choke, if she survived long enough to give birth, then everything Palpatine told him about that day was false. But the most shocking discovery comes when he accesses archived security footage from the Jedi Temple during Order 66. His enhanced visual systems can analyze the recordings in detail that was impossible during his original pain-clouded viewings. And what he sees makes his blood run cold. The younglings in the temple aren't cowering in terror from clone troopers. They're running towards someone in dark robes, someone they recognize and trust. The final frames, enhanced and magnified by his superior systems, show their faces clearly in their last moments. Not fear of strangers, but betrayal and confusion as someone they trusted ignites a lightsaber. Vader's enhanced memory systems begin recovering suppressed recollections of that day. The weight of his lightsaber in his hand, the sound of small voices calling his name in confusion, the look in their eyes as they realized what was happening. For the first time since his fall to the dark side, Vader remembers the younglings not as faceless enemies, but as children. Children who had trusted him. The emotional impact of these recovered memories should drive him deeper into the dark side, should fuel the rage and self-hatred that Palpatine used to control him. But his enhanced systems are also regulating his emotional responses, preventing the cascade of rage that would normally follow such realizations. Instead of blind fury, he experiences something far more dangerous to a Sith Master: clarity. Over the following weeks, Vader's investigation expands. His enhanced systems allow him to access and cross-reference vast amounts of Imperial data, identifying patterns that paint an increasingly disturbing picture of his master's manipulations. The banking clan's involvement in financing both sides of the Clone Wars, the convenient timing of various crises that led to Palpatine's emergency powers, most damaging, communications logs that suggest Palpatine was in contact with Count Dooku throughout the war, not as enemies, but as conspirators. Each piece of evidence is analyzed with mathematical precision by his enhanced cognitive systems. The probability that Palpatine orchestrated the Clone Wars, manipulated both sides, and engineered the fall of the Republic becomes increasingly certain. But the most devastating revelation is yet to come. Deep in the Imperial archives, protected by security systems that his enhanced capabilities allow him to bypass, Vader discovers files marked with the highest classification levels, medical records from Polis Massa, security footage from the asteroid facility, and communications logs that reveal the truth about Padmé's final hours. She didn't die from his forced choke. She died from what the medical records euphemistically term loss of will to live, but what Vader's enhanced systems identify as profound psychological trauma. The security footage shows her final words, recorded by the medical droids. "Obi-Wan, there is good in him. I know there is still good in him." But most shocking of all are the birth records. 2 children, a boy and a girl, born healthy, taken by Obi-Wan Kenobi and placed in hiding. His enhanced systems immediately cross-reference birth dates, locations, and identifying characteristics with Imperial databases. And within hours, he has identified them both: Luke Skywalker, living with Owen and Beru Lars on Tatooine, using his father's family name without any attempt at concealment, and Leia Organa, adopted daughter of Bail Organa, one of the founders of the Rebel Alliance. His children, alive, hidden from him for over 2 decades. The revelation should destroy him. The pain of knowing his children are alive, that they've grown up believing him dead or evil, should drive him into a rage that consumes everything in its path. But his enhanced systems prevent that cascade of emotion, forcing him to process the information logically rather than emotionally. And that logical analysis leads to a conclusion that shakes him to his core. Palpatine has been lying to him about everything for 20 years. The confrontation comes during a routine meeting about Imperial expansion in the Outer Rim. Vader and Palpatine are alone in the throne room, discussing resource allocation for new sectors, when Vader decides to test his master's honesty. "Master," Vader says, his enhanced voice carrying perfect calm, "I've been researching genealogical records as part of my strategic analysis of rebel leadership. It's fascinating how bloodlines influence political alignments across generations." Palpatine, reviewing data pads, nods absently. Indeed, family connections often drive political loyalties. It's why the Empire must sometimes break those connections to ensure proper allegiance. "I discovered something particularly interesting about the Skywalker line," Vader continues, his enhanced sensors monitoring Palpatine's physiological responses for any sign of deception or nervousness. For the first time, Palpatine looks up from his data pads. "The Skywalker line? I wasn't aware there were any surviving members besides yourself." Vader's sensors immediately detect the lie. Elevated heart rate, increased perspiration, subtle vocal stress patterns, all indicators that Palpatine knows exactly what Vader is referring to. Yes, it seems there may be descendants I was unaware of, Vader continues, watching as his master's stress indicators continue to climb. A young man on Tatooine, for instance, Luke Skywalker, and perhaps others. Palpatine's control is remarkable, but not perfect enough to fool Vader's enhanced systems. I'm sure it's simply coincidence. Skywalker is not an uncommon name in the Outer Rim. Perhaps. Vader agrees, though the birth date is interesting. 19 years ago, shortly after the end of the Clone Wars, almost as if. He pauses, letting the implications hang in the air. As if what? Palpatine asks. And for the first time in decades, Vader can hear uncertainty in his master's voice, as if someone survived Mustafar long enough to give birth. The silence that follows is deafening. Palpatine's mask of calm finally slips, revealing the calculating predator beneath. What exactly are you suggesting, Lord Vader? Vader's enhanced systems have been recording this entire conversation, analyzing every micro-expression, every physiological response. The evidence is conclusive. Palpatine has been lying about Padme, about the children, about everything. I'm suggesting, Master, that you may have been less than completely honest with me about certain events on Mustafar. Palpatine stands slowly, his yellow eyes glowing with dangerous intensity. Are you questioning my word, my old friend? I'm questioning everything, Vader replies, his enhanced cognitive systems having already calculated the probability that this conversation would lead to confrontation. My improved memory systems have allowed me to recall events with perfect clarity. My analytical capabilities have helped me identify inconsistencies in official records, and my enhanced senses can detect deception with mathematical precision. And what have these remarkable systems told you? Palpatine asks, moving closer with predatory grace. That you lied to me about Padme's death, that you lied to me about my children, that you have been manipulating me for 2 decades with a combination of deception, emotional manipulation, and carefully constructed dependencies. Palpatine's expression shifts from dangerous to coldly furious. Even if that were true, what would you do about it? You are my apprentice. You serve at my pleasure. Everything you are, I created. Everything I was, you destroyed. Vader corrects. But what I am now, that's different. You gave me the tools to think clearly, to see past the fog of pain and rage you used to control me. And what I see is that you are not my master, you are my enemy. The throne room erupts into violence as Palpatine unleashes Force lightning with deadly intensity. But Vader's enhanced suit doesn't just absorb the attack, it channels and redirects it. His improved reflexes allow him to dodge and parry with precision impossible in his original incarnation. Most importantly, his clear thinking prevents the emotional cascade that would have made him vulnerable to psychological manipulation. You cannot defeat me, Palpatine snarls as their lightsabers clash in the center of the room. I am the master of the dark side. Your power flows from me. My power flows from the Force itself, Vader replies, his enhanced systems allowing him to fight with tactical precision rather than blind rage. You taught me to use it, but you never controlled it. And you made one critical error. Master, you gave me the ability to choose. Their battle is unlike any confrontation in Sith history. Instead of the wild, emotion-driven combat typical of dark-side conflicts, Vader fights with mathematical precision. His enhanced systems calculate optimal attack patterns, predict Palpatine's responses, and identify weaknesses in his master's defenses. For the first time in the confrontation between master and apprentice, the apprentice has advantages the master never anticipated, but the battle is interrupted by an unexpected arrival. The doors to the throne room burst open as Luke Skywalker, accompanied by Leia Organa and a team of rebel commandos, charges in with weapons ready. Behind them, Vader's enhanced sensors detect the familiar signatures of Han Solo, Chewbacca, and several other rebel operatives he's encountered in intelligence reports. "Emperor Palpatine," Luke shouts, his lightsaber igniting with a brilliant blue glow. "Your reign of terror ends here." Both Vader and Palpatine pause their combat, staring at the young man who has just entered. But their reactions couldn't be more different. Palpatine sees the culmination of his long-laid plans, the young Skywalker, driven by anger and rebellion, ready to strike down the Emperor and take his place as a Sith Lord. His yellow eyes gleam with satisfaction as he senses the rage and determination radiating from Luke. Vader sees something else entirely. His enhanced visual systems immediately analyze Luke's stance, his weapon grip, his Force signature. Every detail confirms what his investigation had already revealed. This is his son, strong in the Force, courageously fighting against tyranny. But more than that, Vader's enhanced empathic sensors detect something that stops him cold. Luke is not driven by hatred or anger, but by a desperate desire to protect others. Even in his rage against the Emperor, Luke's fundamental nature remains untouched by the dark side. "Luke," Vader says, his enhanced voice carrying both recognition and overwhelming emotion. "My son." Luke freezes, his lightsaber wavering as the words hit him like a physical blow. Around him, the rebel commandos shift nervously, their weapons trained on both Sith Lords, but uncertain who presents the greater threat. "What did you call me?" Luke asks, his voice barely above a whisper. Leia steps forward, her diplomatic training allowing her to maintain composure, even as her enhanced sensitivity to the Force, a gift she's only recently begun to acknowledge, tells her that something profound is happening. "Luke, be careful. This could be another manipulation." "Your father," Palpatine interjects with a cruel smile, relishing the moment of revelation he's orchestrated for so long, though he failed to mention it until now. "Yes, young Skywalker, Darth Vader, is Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi Knight who became my greatest servant, the man who helped me destroy the Jedi Order, the one who killed younglings with his own hands." Luke's expression shifts through confusion, horror, and finally determination. His Force signature blazes with conflicted emotions, grief, anger, betrayal, and underneath it all, a desperate hope that what he's hearing isn't true. "Then I'll destroy you both," Luke shouts, raising his lightsaber with both hands. He charges at Vader, their lightsabers clashing in a shower of blue and red sparks that illuminates the throne room. But this confrontation is nothing like the desperate battle of the original timeline. Vader's enhanced capabilities make him far superior to Luke's incomplete training. But more importantly, his clear thinking prevents him from fighting with the intent to kill. Vader's enhanced combat systems immediately analyze Luke's fighting style, identifying the techniques Obi-Wan and Yoda taught him. Form 4, Ataru from Yoda, with elements of Form 3, Sorisu from Obi-Wan's influence. Aggressive, but lacking the refinement that comes from years of practice. Most tellingly, Luke's attacks are driven by emotion rather than tactical thinking, exactly the kind of approach that Vader's enhanced systems are designed to counter. Instead of overwhelming his son with superior power, Vader fights defensively, deflecting Luke's attacks while trying to explain. Each parry is precisely calculated to redirect rather than harm. Each movement designed to exhaust Luke's anger rather than escalate the conflict. "Luke, I am not your enemy," Vader says, his enhanced voice modulated to carry calm authority, even as their blades dance between them. "Everything Palpatine told you about me, about your mother's death, was designed to manipulate us both. You killed my father," Luke shouts, pressing his attack with increasing desperation. His blade work is becoming more erratic as emotion overrides training. "No," Vader replies, using his enhanced reflexes to catch Luke's blade in a bind that stops the younger man's momentum without injuring him. "I am your father, and I've spent 20 years living with the consequences of believing Palpatine's lies. Don't make the same mistake." The words hang in the air as their lightsabers remain locked together. Vader's enhanced strength could easily overpower Luke, but instead, he holds the bind steady, allowing his son to process what he's hearing. Luke stumbles backward, breaking the bind and nearly dropping his weapon as the full implications hit him. "That's impossible!" Around them, the throne room has become a tableau of frozen tension. The rebel commandos keep their weapons ready, but seem uncertain whether to fire. Leia watches the exchange with growing understanding, her own force sensitivity beginning to confirm what Vader has revealed. Han Solo, typically practical even in extraordinary circumstances, has his blaster trained on Palpatine, recognizing the greater threat. "Search your feelings," Vader says, deactivating his lightsaber in a gesture of trust that sends ripples of shock through everyone present. "You know it to be true. The Force does not lie, Luke. I can sense your connection to it, just as I can sense." He pauses, his enhanced sensors confirming what he suspected since the moment she entered. "Leia, you have that power too." Leia's hand instinctively moves toward the blaster at her hip, but she doesn't draw it. "What are you saying? That you are both my children?" Vader continues, his enhanced memory systems providing him with perfect recall of the birth records he discovered. "Twins separated at birth to hide you from the Emperor. Luke was taken to Tatooine, to my stepfamily. Leia was adopted by Bail Organa, hidden in plain sight among the Imperial Senate." Palpatine, who has been watching this reunion with growing fury, finally loses patience with his carefully laid plans unraveling. "Enough," he snarls, Force lightning crackling between his fingers. "You want the truth, young Skywalkers? The truth is that your father is a monster who betrayed everything he once stood for. He murdered children. He helped me destroy the Republic. And now, because of his weakness, I must destroy you all myself." The Emperor unleashes the full power of the dark side, Force lightning erupting from his hands in torrents that dwarf anything he showed during his earlier battle with Vader. But this attack isn't aimed at Vader alone. It spreads out to encompass Luke, Leia, and the rebel commandos. Intended to eliminate everyone who might threaten his rule, Vader's enhanced reflexes are faster than thought. His improved suit systems immediately calculate trajectory and power output, determining that while he might survive the attack, his children would not. Without hesitation, he throws himself between the lightning and Luke and Leia, his enhanced systems absorbing energies that would have instantly killed him in his original incarnation. But even his improved capabilities have limits. Palpatine's full power, unleashed without restraint, begins to overwhelm his suit's defensive systems. Warning indicators flash across his internal displays as power conduits begin to overload. "Father," Luke cries, reaching for his fallen lightsaber with the Force. "Stay back," Vader commands, struggling to his feet as his damaged but still functional systems recalibrate to compensate for the energy drain. "This is my fight, my responsibility." Leia, ever practical, has been analyzing the tactical situation while the others focused on the emotional revelations. Han, Chewie get the commandos to flank left. If we can get crossfire on the Emperor while Vader engages him directly. "No," Vader interrupts, his enhanced hearing picking up her whispered tactical planning. "Palpatine is more dangerous than you realize. He's been manipulating galactic politics for decades. Every move you make, he's probably anticipated." As if to prove Vader's point, Palpatine laughs as more Imperial reinforcements pour into the throne room. Red-armored royal guards, their force pikes crackling with energy, move to surround the rebels while additional stormtroopers take position at every exit. "Did you really think I wouldn't prepare for this possibility?" Palpatine sneers. "I have foreseen every move, every choice, every moment of this confrontation. Even your enhanced abilities, Lord Vader, were part of my design. I made you stronger, so that when you inevitably fell, your defeat would be more educational for your son." But Palpatine has made one critical miscalculation. His plans were based on the assumption that Vader would remain the rage-driven, emotionally compromised Sith Lord he had always been. He never anticipated that Vader's enhanced cognitive abilities would allow him to break free from the psychological chains that had bound him for 2 decades. Vader's enhanced systems immediately begin calculating tactical solutions. The throne room's layout, the positioning of enemy forces, the capabilities of his allies, the structural weak points of the chamber itself, all of it processes through his improved cognitive matrix in milliseconds. "Luke, Leia," Vader says, his enhanced voice carrying absolute authority. "I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" Luke looks at the dark figure who claims to be his father, searching for any sign of deception. But his Force sensitivity, enhanced by emotional stress, tells him something his training never could have prepared him for. Despite everything, despite the darkness that surrounds Vader like a shroud, there is still light within him. Faint, buried under decades of guilt and manipulation, but undeniably present. "Yes," Luke says finally. Leia takes longer to decide. Her analytical mind wars with her emotional instincts, but finally, she nods as well. "What do you need us to do?" "When I give the signal, use the Force to shield the commandos and get them to the auxiliary exits. Don't try to help me fight Palpatine. He's too powerful, and I won't risk losing you again." "Again?" Leia asks. "I lost you once to his lies," Vader explains, his enhanced systems already tracking the movements of the royal guards. "I won't make that mistake twice." What follows is not the desperate, emotionally driven battle of the original timeline, but a calculated dismantling of Palpatine's carefully constructed advantage. Vader's enhanced capabilities allow him to fight on multiple levels simultaneously: physical combat against the Emperor, tactical coordination with his children, and strategic manipulation of the battlefield itself. The battle begins when Vader suddenly throws his lightsaber, not at Palpatine, but at the massive chandelier hanging above the throne room. His enhanced strength and precision guide the blade through the chandelier's supports, bringing tons of crystalline structure crashing down between the Emperor and his reinforcements. In the chaos that follows, Luke and Leia work together for the first time, their combined force abilities creating protective barriers around Han, Chewbacca, and the rebel commandos. The twins' power, magnified by their emotional connection to each other and their newfound understanding of their heritage, proves far greater than either could achieve alone. Meanwhile, Vader engages Palpatine in single combat that showcases every advantage his enhanced systems provide. His reaction time is superhuman, allowing him to anticipate and counter attacks that would have overwhelmed his original incarnation. His strength is precisely calibrated, providing maximum power without the wild, uncontrolled swings that characterized his rage-driven fighting style. Most importantly, his tactical analysis allows him to identify and exploit weaknesses in Palpatine's technique that 2 decades of pain and anger had blinded him to before. "You think your improvements make you my equal?" Palpatine snarls as their lightsabers clash in the center of the ruined throne room. "You are still my creation, my apprentice." "I was never your apprentice," Vader replies, his enhanced systems allowing him to fight and speak simultaneously without losing focus. "I was your victim, but that ends now." Their lightsaber duel is a study in contrasts. Palpatine fights with the raw power and malevolent cunning that has made him the master of the Sith, but his style is based on the assumption that his opponent is driven by emotion and vulnerable to psychological manipulation. Vader's enhanced systems make him immune to such tactics, processing Palpatine's taunts as mere data, while his logical combat algorithms identify optimal responses. More importantly, Vader's enhanced empathic sensors reveal something about Palpatine that his original incarnation could never have detected. The Emperor is afraid. Beneath the confidence and cruelty, Palpatine is terrified of losing the absolute power he spent decades accumulating. That fear makes him predictable, and predictability is a weakness. Vader's enhanced systems are designed to exploit. The turning point comes when Palpatine, frustrated by his inability to break through Vader's defenses, makes a tactical error. He attempts to use Force lightning while maintaining his lightsaber guard, dividing his attention between offense and defense. Vader's enhanced reflexes allow him to exploit that momentary vulnerability, his blade slipping past Palpatine's guard to score a deep wound across the Emperor's chest. Palpatine staggers, genuine surprise replacing his cruel confidence. For the first time in decades, he's facing an opponent who is not only his equal in power, but superior in tactics and preparation. "Impossible," Palpatine gasps, looking down at the smoking wound. "You cannot defeat me. I am the dark side." "No," Vader replies, pressing his advantage with a series of precisely calculated strikes that force Palpatine to give ground. "You're just a man who convinced himself that power justified any atrocity. But power without wisdom is meaningless, and wisdom without compassion is just another form of slavery." As Vader speaks, his enhanced systems are monitoring Luke and Leia's progress with the evacuation. The twins have successfully created a safe corridor for the rebel commandos, but they're struggling to maintain their force barriers against the increasing pressure from Imperial reinforcements. Luke, Leia. Vader calls without taking his attention from Palpatine. You need to go. Now. We're not leaving you, Luke shouts back, his lightsaber deflecting blaster bolts from a squad of stormtroopers. You're not leaving me, Vader corrects, finally understanding something that his enhanced systems had been trying to tell him throughout this entire confrontation. You're giving me something to live for. With that realization, something fundamental shifts in Vader's connection to the Force. The dark side energy that has powered him for 2 decades doesn't disappear. But it's suddenly balanced by something else, light side energy flowing through his connection to his children. His enhanced systems detect the change immediately, power levels spiking as he gains access to capabilities he hadn't known were possible. The final exchange with Palpatine lasts only seconds. But those seconds contain a lifetime of resolution. Vader's enhanced speed allows him to close the distance between them before Palpatine can react. His improved strength lets him overcome the Emperor's Force defenses. Most importantly, his newfound balance between light and dark gives him access to techniques that pure Sith training could never have provided. When Vader's lightsaber finally pierces Palpatine's heart, the Emperor's last words are filled with disbelief rather than hatred. How? The dark side was supposed to make you strong. It did make me strong, Vader replies, standing over his former master's body. But strength without purpose is just destruction. You taught me power, but my children taught me what to do with it. In the aftermath of Palpatine's death, the throne room falls silent except for the hum of lightsabers and the distant sound of Imperial reinforcements being held at bay by rebel forces. Vader turns to face his children not as a dying man seeking redemption, but as someone who has finally broken free from decades of manipulation and found his way back to the light. His enhanced suit has kept him functional throughout the ordeal, and for the first time since Mustafar, he chooses to remove his helmet not because he's dying, but because he wants his children to see his face. The visage that emerges is scarred, but undeniably alive. The enhanced medical systems integrated into his suit have been slowly healing the damage from Mustafar over the past months. And while he will never look exactly as he did as Anakin Skywalker, he's clearly recognizable as Luke and Leia's father. Luke, Leia, he says, his natural voice carrying the weight of decades, but also the hope of redemption. I have much to atone for. 20 years of choices I can't undo. Actions I can't take back. But I hope we can find a way to be a family again. Luke stares at his father, trying to reconcile the man before him with everything he's been told about Darth Vader. You're not dying? The enhanced systems your Emperor provided ensure I will live for a very long time yet. Vader replies with something approaching a smile. Long enough, I hope, to help repair the damage I've caused to the galaxy. And long enough to get to know my children. Leia, ever practical even in extraordinary circumstances, steps forward with her characteristic directness. The Empire won't simply collapse with Palpatine's death. There will be chaos, civil war, competing factions trying to seize power. The Imperial military alone comprises millions of personnel across thousands of star systems. If you really want to atone for your past, help us build something better. It's exactly what Vader's enhanced systems have been calculating since the moment Palpatine fell. The Empire's infrastructure is too vast and complex to simply dismantle without causing galactic economic collapse and widespread suffering. But it can be transformed, rebuilt from within by someone who understands its systems and has the technological capability to manage the transition. You're right, Vader acknowledges. But the task will require more than just good intentions. The Empire has spent 2 decades building systems designed to concentrate power and suppress dissent. Changing those systems will require someone who understands how they work and has the capability to coordinate changes across multiple sectors simultaneously. Luke looks confused. What are you saying? I'm saying that my enhanced systems give me capabilities that might be uniquely suited to this task, Vader explains. Perfect memory allows me to identify every corrupt official, every unjust policy, every hidden atrocity that needs to be addressed. Enhanced processing power lets me coordinate logistics across multiple star systems. Most importantly, my understanding of Imperial systems combined with my newfound commitment to justice might allow us to transform the Empire from within rather than destroying it and hoping something better emerges from the chaos. Han Solo, who has been listening to this conversation with growing incredulity, finally speaks up. Wait, you're talking about reforming the Empire, the same empire that's been oppressing the galaxy for 20 years? I'm talking about transforming it into something that serves the people instead of exploiting them, Vader clarifies. The infrastructure exists to provide food, medical care, education, and protection to trillions of beings across the galaxy. Currently, that infrastructure serves the wealthy and powerful while ignoring or actively harming everyone else. But with the right leadership and systematic reforms, it could be the foundation for a truly just galactic government. Leia's eyes light up with understanding. Her years in the Imperial Senate have given her intimate knowledge of how galactic government actually functions, and she can see the potential in what Vader is proposing. You're talking about revolution from the top down instead of from the bottom up. Exactly. The Rebel Alliance has been fighting for years to overthrow the Empire. But even if you had succeeded, what would have replaced it? The Old Republic was corrupt and ineffective. That's how Palpatine was able to seize power in the first place. Simply restoring the previous system would have just reset the conditions that allowed the Empire to emerge. Luke, still struggling to process everything that's happened, asks the question that's been weighing on him since the revelation of their relationship. But what about everything you've done? The Jedi you killed, the planets the Empire destroyed, the suffering you caused. How can we just ignore that? Vader's expression grows somber, and his enhanced systems immediately call up detailed records of every atrocity committed during his service to Palpatine. The data is overwhelming, thousands of deaths directly attributable to his actions, millions more resulting from Imperial policies he helped implement. We don't ignore it, he says finally. We acknowledge it. We make reparations where possible, and we ensure it never happens again. But Luke, if I spent the rest of my life wallowing in guilt over past actions, that would just be another form of selfishness. The dead deserve better than my self-pity. They deserve justice, and justice requires action. Over the following days, as news of Palpatine's death spreads across the galaxy, the wisdom of Vader's approach becomes clear. Without a clear succession plan, Imperial commanders across the galaxy begin declaring themselves independent warlords. Star systems that had been held together by fear of Imperial reprisals suddenly find themselves vulnerable to pirate attacks, economic exploitation, and civil war. But Vader's enhanced systems allow him to coordinate a response that would have been impossible for any purely biological intelligence. Working around the clock, he simultaneously manages communications with Imperial fleet commanders, negotiates with planetary governments, coordinates with Rebel Alliance leadership, and processes intelligence reports from thousands of star systems. His perfect memory proves invaluable in these negotiations. When Admiral Thrawn, commanding the Imperial forces in the unknown regions, demands proof that Vader has truly abandoned the Empire's oppressive policies, Vader is able to provide detailed records of every atrocity committed under Palpatine's rule, including many that Thrawn didn't know about. Grand Admiral, Vader says during their holographic conference, "You joined the Empire because you believed it could bring order and stability to the galaxy. But look at these records. Alderaan destroyed as a demonstration. Entire species enslaved for Imperial construction projects. Children taken from their families to serve in propaganda campaigns. Is this the order you sought to protect?" Thrawn, whose tactical brilliance is matched only by his commitment to what he sees as the greater good, studies the evidence with growing horror. "Then, help me build something better," Vader offers. "Your tactical expertise, combined with the infrastructure we already have, could create a government that actually protects the people it serves." Similar conversations play out across the galaxy as Vader uses his enhanced capabilities to personally engage with key Imperial leaders. His perfect recall allows him to tailor each argument to the specific concerns and motivations of each commander. His enhanced empathic sensors help him identify who can be trusted and who must be removed from power. But perhaps most importantly, his technological advantages allow him to demonstrate his commitment to reform through immediate, concrete actions. Within the first week following Palpatine's death, Vader has used his access to Imperial systems to release political prisoners, redirect military resources to humanitarian aid, and begin dismantling the most oppressive aspects of Imperial law. The transformation isn't without resistance. Moff Gideon, commanding Imperial forces in the Outer Rim, refuses to accept Vader's new authority and declares his intention to restore the true Empire. Other regional commanders make similar declarations, leading to a brief but intense civil war within Imperial space. But Vader's enhanced capabilities give him decisive advantages in these conflicts. His perfect coordination of loyal forces, combined with Luke and Leia's growing influence over Rebel Alliance operations, allows them to systematically defeat Imperial hardliners while minimizing civilian casualties. The turning point comes during the Siege of Coruscant, when Moff Gideon leads a coalition of die-hard Imperial loyalists in an attempt to retake the capital. Vader's enhanced systems allow him to coordinate the defense of the planet with mathematical precision, while his personal combat capabilities prove decisive in the final battle. When Vader confronts Gideon in the ruins of the Imperial Palace, the Moff makes one last attempt to appeal to his former commander's loyalty to Imperial ideals. "Lord Vader," Gideon says, his voice carrying genuine desperation, "you're destroying everything we built together. The order, the stability, the strength that made the galaxy great." Vader's enhanced systems immediately analyze Gideon's psychological profile, identifying the mixture of genuine belief and personal ambition that drives him. "Moff Gideon, the order we built was founded on fear and maintained through oppression. That's not strength, it's weakness disguised as power. And what would you replace it with? Chaos. The return of the corrupt republic that Palpatine had to overthrow with something new," Vader replies, his enhanced voice carrying absolute certainty. A government that derives its power from the consent of the governed, not from their fear. A system that protects the weak instead of exploiting them. The kind of government that my children can be proud to serve. The final battle between Vader and Gideon is swift and decisive. Vader's enhanced capabilities make him overwhelmingly superior to any conventional opponent. But more importantly, his clear purpose gives him a strength that pure technology cannot provide. With the defeat of the Imperial hardliners, the real work of transformation can begin. Vader, Luke, and Leia establish what they call the Reformed Galactic Republic, with a constitution specifically designed to prevent the concentration of power that allowed Palpatine to seize control. The new government operates on principles that would have been impossible to implement without Vader's technological advantages. His enhanced systems allow him to simultaneously monitor the implementation of reforms across thousands of star systems, ensuring that policy changes actually reach the planetary level instead of being subverted by local officials. But perhaps the most significant change is cultural rather than political. Vader's public transformation from the Empire's most feared enforcer to the Republic's most dedicated reformer sends a message that resonates across the galaxy. Change is possible, redemption is achievable, and even the darkest past can be overcome through commitment to justice. The new Jedi Order that Luke establishes reflects these principles. Instead of the rigid dogma that characterized the old order, Luke's training emphasizes balance, compassion, and the integration of technology with Force abilities. Students learn not just lightsaber combat and meditation, but also engineering, medicine, and diplomatic skills that allow them to serve as problem solvers rather than just warriors. Vader's role in this new order is unprecedented. His enhanced systems make him uniquely capable of analyzing Force phenomena from a scientific perspective, leading to breakthroughs in understanding that advanced Jedi knowledge by centuries. More importantly, his personal experience with both the light and dark sides of the Force provides insights that pure theoretical study could never achieve. Years pass, and the Reformed Galactic Republic grows stronger. Planets that had suffered under Imperial oppression see genuine improvement in living conditions. Trade flows freely across the galaxy, without the corruption and favoritism that characterized both the Old Republic and the Empire. Most importantly, conflicts are resolved through negotiation and compromise, rather than through violence and intimidation. Vader ages, though his enhanced systems slow the process significantly. His scarred face gains lines of wisdom rather than bitterness, and his mechanical limbs require less frequent maintenance as nanotechnology continues to improve their integration with his biological systems. Luke and Leia both marry and have children of their own. The next generation of Skywalkers who will inherit a galaxy finally free from the cycle of war and oppression that defined their father's era. Ben Solo, Han and Leia's son, grows up knowing his grandfather not as a figure of fear, but as a symbol of redemption and hope. On quiet evenings, when his official duties are complete, Vader often stands on the observation deck of the rebuilt Jedi Temple, watching the sunset over Coruscant's restored cityscape. The enhanced suit that was once his prison has become the tool of his liberation, allowing him to serve the galaxy in ways he never could have achieved as purely biological being. Luke sometimes joins him during these contemplative moments, and their conversations often turn to questions of technology, destiny, and the nature of the Force itself. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Palpatine had given you the original suit instead of the enhanced one? Luke asks one evening. Vader considers the question with the perfect analytical capabilities his enhanced systems provide. "I would have remained his slave," he says. "Finally, pain and dependence would have kept me chained to the dark side. I would never have been able to think clearly enough to see through his manipulations, and you and Leia would have grown up as his enemies instead of my children. So in a way, his arrogance saved the galaxy. Perhaps. Or perhaps the Force works in ways we don't fully understand. Palpatine thought he was creating the ultimate weapon, but he was actually forging the tool of his own destruction." Luke nods thoughtfully. Master Yoda always said that the dark side clouds everything, makes it difficult to see the future clearly. Maybe Palpatine's connection to the dark side prevented him from seeing the consequences of his actions. That's the fundamental flaw in Sith philosophy. Vader agrees. They believe that power is an end in itself, but power without purpose is just destruction. True strength comes from knowing when to use power and when to show restraint. Their conversation is interrupted by the arrival of Leia, now Chancellor of the Reformed Galactic Republic, carrying a datapad with the latest reports from across the galaxy. "Sorry to interrupt," she says, "but I thought you'd both want to see this. The final Outer Rim territories have ratified the new constitution. We're finally a unified republic again, but one built on consent rather than conquest." Vader takes the datapad, his enhanced systems immediately processing the complex legal and political implications. The document represents the culmination of years of patient work, negotiation, and reform. More than that, it represents proof that redemption is possible not just for individuals, but for entire civilizations. 25 years. Vader muses, handing the datapad back to his daughter. "That's how long it took to undo the damage I helped cause. But it's done now," Leia replies firmly. "And more importantly, we've built safeguards to make sure it can never happen again." As the three Skywalkers stand together watching the lights of Coruscant's evening traffic, they represent something unprecedented in galactic history. A family that has turned personal redemption into institutional reform, private healing into public transformation. Vader's enhanced suit continues to hum quietly, its systems monitoring and optimizing his biological functions. But now it serves a different purpose than the one Palpatine intended. Instead of being a tool of oppression, it has become an instrument of healing, not just for Vader himself, but for an entire galaxy. The technology that was meant to enslave has become the foundation for freedom. The power that was meant to destroy has become the means of creation. And the man who was supposed to be the Empire's greatest weapon has instead become the Republic's greatest protector. As the twin suns set over the restored capital, Vader allows himself a moment of quiet satisfaction. Palpatine had been right about one thing: with the right technology, anything was possible. But the Emperor had been wrong about everything else. Technology wasn't about domination or control. It was about choice, about having the tools to build the world you wanted to live in rather than simply accepting the world you inherited. The enhanced suit that was once Darth Vader's prison has become Anakin Skywalker's liberation. And in a galaxy that has seen too much of both tyranny and chaos, that transformation represents the most powerful technology of all: the ability to choose hope over despair, wisdom over power, and love over fear. In the end, That may be the greatest lesson of Vader's redemption. That no matter how far someone falls, no matter how much damage they cause, no matter how impossible redemption might seem with the right tools and the right purpose, anyone can choose to build something better than what they inherited. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. But their reunion is cut short as Palpatine, seeing his carefully laid plans crumbling, unleashes the full power of the dark side. Force lightning erupts from his hands, not aimed at Vader, but at Luke and Leia, the children whose existence represents his greatest failure. Vader's enhanced reflexes are faster than thought. He throws himself between the lightning and his children, his improved suit absorbing energies that would have killed him in his original incarnation. But even his enhanced systems have limits, and Palpatine's full power is overwhelming. "Father," Luke cries, reaching for his fallen lightsaber. "Stay back," Vader commands, struggling to his feet. His enhanced systems are damaged, but still functional. "This is my fight." What follows is not the desperate, emotionally driven battle of the original timeline, but a calculated dismantling of Palpatine's power. Vader's enhanced capabilities give him every advantage: superior speed, strength, reflexes, and most importantly, clarity of purpose. He's no longer fighting for the dark side or out of rage. He's fighting to protect his children and atone for 20 years of serving a lie. The battle ends when Vader, using his enhanced strength and the precision his improved systems provide, breaks through Palpatine's lightning attack and drives his lightsaber through the Emperor's chest. As the Dark Master falls, his final words are filled with venom and disbelief. "You cannot destroy me. I am the dark side." "No," Vader replies, standing over his former master's body. "You were just a man, drunk on power, and power without wisdom is meaningless." In the aftermath of Palpatine's death, Vader faces his children not as a dying man seeking redemption, but as someone who has finally broken free from decades of manipulation. His enhanced suit has kept him alive and functional throughout the ordeal, and for the first time since Mustafar, he removes his helmet, not because he's dying, but because he chooses to. The face that emerges is scarred but alive, enhanced by subtle technological integration that makes him appear both human and something more. "Luke, Leia," he says, his natural voice carrying the weight of decades, "I have much to atone for, but I hope we can find a way to be a family again." Luke stares at his father, trying to reconcile the man before him with everything he's been told. "You're not dying?" "The enhanced systems your Emperor provided ensure I will live a long time yet," Vader replies with something approaching a smile. "Long enough, I hope, to help repair the damage I've caused." Leia, ever practical, steps forward with her characteristic directness. "The Empire won't simply collapse with Palpatine's death. There will be chaos, civil war, competing factions. If you really want to atone for your past, help us build something better." It's exactly what Vader's enhanced systems have been calculating since the moment Palpatine fell. The Empire's infrastructure is too vast to simply dismantle, but it can be transformed. His technological advantages, combined with Luke's moral guidance and Leia's political acumen, could create something unprecedented, a truly just galactic government. The months that follow see the most dramatic political transformation in galactic history. Instead of the chaotic collapse that might have followed Palpatine's death, Vader uses his enhanced capabilities to coordinate a systematic restructuring of Imperial government. His perfect memory allows him to identify every corrupt official, every unjust policy, every hidden atrocity that needs to be addressed. But perhaps most importantly, his enhanced systems allow him to work with Luke and Leia as partners rather than seeking to dominate them. His clear thinking prevents the emotional manipulation that characterized Sith relationships, while his technological advantages make him uniquely capable of managing the massive logistical challenges of galactic governance. The new empire that emerges is nothing like its predecessor. Instead of rule through fear and oppression, it operates on principles of justice and consensus. Former rebels work alongside reformed Imperials. The military is restructured from an occupying force to a peacekeeping service. Most radically, the government itself is redesigned to prevent any single individual from accumulating the kind of absolute power that led to the Empire's excesses. Vader's role in this new government is unprecedented, part strategic advisor, part technological coordinator, part symbolic reminder of how power can be redeemed through wisdom. His enhanced suit, once a symbol of oppression, becomes a representation of how technology can serve justice rather than tyranny. Years later, as Vader stands in the rebuilt Jedi Temple on Coruscant, watching Luke train a new generation of Force users, he reflects on the irony of his situation. Palpatine had sought to create the ultimate weapon, and in his arrogance, he had succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. But he had also given his weapon something he never intended: the ability to choose its own path. The enhanced suit still hums quietly as it maintains and optimizes his body. But now it serves a different master. Not the Sith, not the Empire, but the Force itself, and the family he thought he had lost forever. Technology, Vader realizes, is neither good nor evil. It's a tool, and like any tool, its value depends entirely on who wields it and why. Princess Leia, now Chancellor of the reformed Galactic Republic, joins him on the observation deck. "Any regrets about the path not taken?" she asks, watching as Luke demonstrates lightsaber techniques to eager students. Vader considers the question with the perfect analytical capabilities his enhanced systems provide. Palpatine believed that power without restraint was the ultimate freedom, he replies finally. But true freedom comes from having the ability to choose and the wisdom to choose correctly. The technology he gave me didn't make me powerful, it made me free. Below them, Luke's students practice their forms, their movements flowing with the same harmony between technology and biology that characterizes their teacher's redeemed father. The galaxy has found a new balance, one where strength serves wisdom rather than replacing it, where technology enhances rather than dominates humanity. The enhanced suit that was meant to be Vader's chain has become the tool of his liberation. And in a galaxy that has seen too much of both tyranny and chaos, that may be the most powerful technology of all: the ability to choose redemption over revenge, wisdom over power, and family over dominance. As the twin suns of Coruscant set over the restored capital, Vader allows himself a moment of satisfaction. The Emperor had been right about one thing. Power without limits was indeed possible. But he had been wrong about where that power came from. It didn't flow from hatred or pain or domination over others. It came from the strength to choose what's right, even when that choice comes at personal cost. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.